Today we'll study matrices which are plural form of a matrix. Now what is a matrix? A matrix is a rectangular array or table of numbers or expressions, maybe functions, arranged in different rows and columns. Say for example, we can write matrices with some capital letters, say A, and it's a rectangular arrangement where we put numbers, say -1, 2, 3/2, √7, 5 iota, 2, or it could be matrix containing expressions. Say for example, say NCR, sin x, x square and 5. So in both the cases, we have some numbers or some expressions arranged in rectangular rows and columns. Now these horizontal arrangements, they are rows. So in this case, we have two rows and we identify them as R1 and R2. Here also we have two rows, R1 and R2. And in the first case, we have three columns, C1, C2 and C3. For the second case, we have only two columns, C1 and C2. Now any matrix, it is characterized by two things. First is its order, and we write order as m cross n, where m represents number of rows and n represents number of columns. Now in this case, since we have two rows and three columns, its order is 2 cross 3. Now for this one, we have two rows and two columns. Its order is 2 cross 2, and then it is characterized by different elements. Now how do we identify different elements? We identify elements in a matrix by this subscript Aij, where I represent the row number and this J, it represents column number. Say for example, in this matrix, suppose I say I want A12. Now this is first row and second column. So this is first row and this is second column. So basically A12 is 2. Or we say this 5i. Now this 5i, it lies in second row and second column. So it will be simply A22. In the same way, for this one, suppose we want to write B12. Now first row, second column, B12 is sin x. So matrix, it is characterized by its order and the elements which are placed inside those matrices. Now it leads us to the second question, and which is, why do we actually need matrices? Why do we study them? Now matrices, they are an important tool in mathematics which has wide variety of applications. We use matrices in coordinate geometry for transformation problems such as rotation of axis or rotation of points. We use matrices in multivariable calculus, say Hessian matrix or Jacobian operator. We use matrices in statistics and probability such as covariance matrix. We use it in economics for optimization problems. It has numerous applications in physics. In quantum and relativistic physics, we use Pauli's matrices. We use Lorentz transformations. In electronics, we use them for mesh analysis. In optics, we study refraction matrices. In computer science, we use matrices for image processing. It is used in coding, encryption, and data structures. It is used to write automation structures in robotics. It is even used in climatology for weather forecasting and in geology to conduct seismic activity or seismic surveys. So the uses are endless. Now we'll study types of matrices. Now the first type is a null matrix or a zero matrix. So any matrix whose order is m cross n, it is said to be a null matrix if all the elements, they are 0. So if Aij, it is 0 for all m and n, then we say it is a null matrix or a zero matrix, and we usually denote it by O. Now the second one is row matrix. Any matrix which has only one row, we call it a row matrix. So any matrix A whose order is 1 cross n, it is qualified as a row matrix. So it should have one row and it can have any number of columns. Say for example, we have this -1, 0, 2, its order is 1 cross 3, 1 row 3 column, or we can have say x to the power 7 plus 2x and then minus 2. Now it has 1 row 2 columns. So all these, they're examples of row matrices. Now similar to row matrices, we have column matrices. Now in column matrices, we have any number of rows but just one column. So its order should be n cross 1. Say for example, we have 1, 2 or 1, 0, 0. So in this case, we have 2 rows, 1 column. Here we have 3 rows, 1 column. So if we have only one column, then we say it is a column matrix. Now this fourth one, and which is the crux of entire matrices, it is called a square matrix. If number of rows is same as number of columns, then we say it is a square matrix. So any matrix which is of the form n cross n, we say it is a square matrix. Say for example, this matrix. Now it has only one row and one column. It is a square matrix. Or this next one, which is minus 1, 0, 2, 4. Here we have 2 rows and 2 columns. Or say minus 1, 1, 0, 4, 7, 2, 5, root 2, 3 by 2. Now here we have 3 rows and 3 columns. It is a square matrix. So any matrix which has same number of rows and columns, then we say it is a square matrix, and we generally write its order as n cross n. Or at times we will just simply say A is a square matrix of order n. And if we say order n, it means it is n cross n. So if we write any n cross n matrix, then here we'll have n rows and n columns. Now this is A11, A12, A13, and this is A1n, this is A21, A22, A23, A2n, A31, A32, A33, and then it'll continue up to AN1, AN2 up to ANN. Now in square matrix, we define something called as its principal diagonal. For the square matrix, this is your principal diagonal. Now principal diagonal will contain all the elements which are of the form AII. Here we have A11, A22, A33 and ANN. So these are called as diagonal elements. If I equals j and if I is unequal to j, then we say they are non-diagonal elements. Now every square matrix, it is associated with a number, and that number is called as determinant of that matrix. So determinant is only possible in the case of a square matrix, and we represent it by this double bar A, or at times we'll simply write it as DETA, which simply means that we are talking about determinant of A. Now the fifth type is diagonal matrix. So diagonal matrix, they are a type of square matrix, and diagonal matrix are those matrices in which Aij is 0 if I is unequal to j. That means all the non-diagonal elements, they must be 0. So if we have any square matrix whose order is n cross n, then we'll have diagonal elements which may or may not be 0, but all the non-diagonal elements, they'll definitely be 0. So we call such matrices as diagonal matrix. Now a diagonal matrix is also represented as A, DIAG, which represents diagonal matrix, and then we write diagonal elements A11, A12 up to ANN. So this is another way of representing a diagonal matrix. Now the sixth type is a scalar matrix. Now scalar matrix, it is a diagonal matrix. So again, it'll be a square matrix, and it is a diagonal matrix such that all the diagonal elements, they are same. So if AII is lambda and AIJ, it is 0. if I is unequal to j, we call it a scalar matrix. Say for example, suppose we have any n cross n matrix, then if all the diagonal elements they are same and all the non-diagonal elements they are 0, we call it a scalar matrix. And then seventh one is identity matrix. Now identity matrix, it is a special case of scalar matrix. So in scalar matrix, if all the diagonal elements are 1 and all the non-diagonal elements are 0, then we call that matrix as an identity matrix. Now generally identity matrix, it is represented by I, basically this IN. Now this N, it represents order of this matrix. So we have this n cross n matrix, which is a diagonal matrix whose all the diagonal entries are 1 and then all the non-diagonal entries, they are simply 0. Now we write I1 is just 1, I2 will be this 2 cross 2 matrix, diagonal elements 1, non-diagonal 0. We can write I3, 3 rows, 3 columns. We have 3 diagonal elements, 1, 1, 1, and then all the remaining elements, they are 0. So we call them as identity matrix. Now the 8th and 9th one, the upper triangular matrix and a lower triangular matrix. So if you have any square matrix and whose order is n cross n, now this is our principal diagonal A11, A22, A33, ANN. If in matrix all the elements which are below the diagonal, they are 0, then we say it is an upper triangular matrix. So it may have non-zero entries in the diagonal and elements above the diagonal. So each and every element which is below the diagonal, it must be 0. So in this case, this Aij will be 0 whenever I is greater than j, and all other elements, they may be 0 or non-zero. And in the same way, if entries above the diagonal, they are 0, then we say it is a lower triangular matrix and it is characterized by Aij equals 0 wherever I is less than j. Now the 10th one is a submatrix. Now suppose we have any matrix A which is m cross n. Now this is A11, A12, A1n, and this is AN1 up to ANN. Now if we select any matrix within this matrix, we call it a submatrix. Now this submatrix of A, it can be B, which is P cross Q, where P is less than or equal to M and Q is less than or equal to N. Say for example, if we have this matrix A, which is 3, 2, minus 1, 4, 7, 3, 1, 1, 2. Now we select this matrix, which is 2, minus 1, 7, 3. It is a submatrix. Or we take this block, it is a submatrix. This is another block and this is also a submatrix. So if we choose any rectangular block from a matrix, we call it a submatrix. Now the 11th one is echelon form of matrix. ACHELON, echelon form of a matrix. We'll need these matrices when we'll find rank of a matrix or while solving system of equations. I'll take an illustration. Say for example, we have some numbers 1, 2, 0, 5, 9, 0, 7, 2, 4, 6, 0, 0, 0, minus 1, 7, 0, 0, 0, 2 and 0, 0, 0, 0 and 0. Now a matrix is said to be in the echelon form if first one is any row of all zeros are below any other non-zero rows. So in this case, we have only one row with all the zeros and it lies at the bottom of this matrix. So in any Ecolian form, every non-zero row, it should be below any other non-zero row. Now the second one is each leading entry of a row is in a column to the right of the leading entry of the row above it. Now here we have non-zero entry 1, this is 7, this is -1 and this is 2. Now this 7, it is to the right of 1, this -1, it is to the right of 7 and this 2, it is to the right of -1. And finally third is all entries in a column below a leading entry are 0. So all the entries in the column below a leading entry, they are zeros. So any matrix which is expressed in this form, we call it as echelon matrix. Now the 12th one is, suppose we have a system of equations a1x plus b1y plus c1z equals d1, a2x plus b2y plus c2z equals d2 and a3x plus b3y plus c3z equals d3. Then here we define something called as coefficient matrix. Now basically coefficient matrix is matrix of coefficients of x, y and z. So in this case it will be a1, b1, c1, a2, b2, c2 and a3, b3 and c3. So this 12th type is your coefficient matrix. And the 13th type is augmented matrix. Now augmented matrix, it is formed by appending or adding columns of two different matrices. Now say for example, in this we already have this coefficient matrix, and if we take this matrix of constant terms, which is d1, d2, d3, now if we append this column to this matrix, then we can write this as a1, b1, c1, a2, b2, c2, a3, b3, c3, and this is d1, d2 and d3, and we generally put this dotted line here. So this matrix, it is called as augmented matrix. Now suppose this matrix is A and this matrix is B, then we also write this matrix as this A and B. So these are 13 type of matrices. There are a couple more types, but we'll study them a little later. Now the next thing that we'll study is algebra of matrices. Now first is equality of two matrices. Now if we have two matrices, A, which is characterized by Aij m cross n, and this B, which is characterized by Bij and which is suppose P cross Q, then two matrices A and B, they are said to be equal if their order is same, that is when M is P and N is Q and Aij is equal to Bij for all I and j. So suppose we are given two matrices such that x plus 2 0 minus 1 5 minus x, and it is equal to 5 0 minus 1 and 2. Now we compare them, all the elements, they must be same. Now here we'll get x plus 2 equals 5 and 0 equals 0, minus 1 equals minus 1 and 5 minus x equals 2. So value of x is 3 and here also value of x is 3. So we are getting a simultaneous equation. So these two matrices, they'll be equal when the value of x is 3. Now we have same variable, but we get two different results. Suppose I change this 2 to 3. Now in this case, value of x will be simply 2. Now these two matrices, they can never be equal because it doesn't have a simultaneous solution. So first is equality of two matrices. Their order, it must be same, and each and every element, it must be equal. Now second is multiplication with a scalar. So if we have any matrix A, which is Aij m cross n. Now we multiply this A with any scalar number k, then it is expressed as k into Aij m cross n, which means this number will be simply multiplied to all the entries in the matrix. Say for example, suppose we have this A as -320 114, and if we need to find 2A, then this 2 will be multiplied to all the elements. It will be -6 4 0, it will be 2 2 and 8. Now we multiply two scalars, say k1 into k2 into A, then this is equal to k1 into k2a, or we can write this as k2 into k1a. So suppose we have 6a, we can write this as 3 into 2a, and we can also write this as 2 into 3a. So all the three, they are equivalent forms of same matrix. Now this third one is addition and subtraction. So if we have two matrices A and B, and A is Aij m cross n and B is Bij m cross n. So in order to add two matrices, their order, it must be same. If the order is not same, we cannot add two matrices. So if we add or subtract them, we can write this as A plus minus B will be equal to this matrix Aij plus minus Bij m cross n. That means their corresponding entries, they'll be added or they'll be subtracted according to the question. Say for example, if we need to add 1 2 3 4 with -1 1 -2 0, then we are going to add these two. So 1 plus -1 is 0, 2 plus 1 3, 3 minus 2 1, and 4 plus 0 4. So this is how we add two matrices. Now at times we'll be given these matrices as some function of a variable. Say for example, suppose we are given a matrix as AR, and this AR is some F1R, F2R, F3R and F4R, and suppose we need to find this summation R varies from 1 to M AR, then there are M such matrices, and if we add all these matrices, all the elements in the corresponding matrices, they'll add up. So we can simply write this as this summation F1R, this summation F2R, summation F3R, and this summation F4R. Say for example, now suppose we are given this 2 cross 2 matrix XK, and which is 1 NCK K and A to the power K. Now suppose we have to find this summation K varies from 1 to N XK will be this summation 1, summation NCK, summation K, summation A to the power K. Now summation 1 is simply N. Now this is NC1 plus NC2 plus NC2 up to NCN, which is 2 to the power of N minus 1. Now summation K is 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to N. It is N plus 1 by 2, and this is nothing but this is A plus A square plus A to the power N, which is sum of a GP, and will be A to the power N minus 1 upon A minus 1. So this is how we add or subtract two matrices. Now if we look at properties of addition, properties of addition are, first, addition is commutative, which means A plus B is same as B plus A, and second, this addition is associative. So if we add three matrices, then the order in which we add them, it doesn't matter. So A plus B plus C is same as A plus B plus C. Third one is if we add A to any null matrix O, it'll be simply A. Fourth one is A plus minus A, it is 0. Fifth one is cancellation law. So if we have A plus B and it is equal to A plus C, then we can simply write B equals C, which is equivalent to cancelling this A with A. And if we multiply any scalar K with A plus or minus B, we can simply write this as KA plus minus KB. So these are the simple properties of matrix addition. Now the question is, if AK is K into 10 CK and BK is 10 minus K into 10 CK, and this matrix AK is AK0 and 0 BK, we need to find this summation AK. Now basically this matrix A is sum of all such matrices, which is summation K varies from 1 to 9 AK, and sum of matrices is simply this summation AK when K varies from 1 to 9. This is 0 and 0, and summation BK when K varies from 1 to 9. Now if we look at this summation AK when K varies from 1 to 9, it'll be 1 into 10C1, 2 into 10C2 and plus 9 into 10C9. We'll reverse the series. So we'll write this summation AK from 1 to 9, and then we'll write the series in reverse, but we'll replace NCR with NC n minus R. So it'll be 9 into 10C1, 8 into 10C2, and here will be 1 into 10C9. Now if we add them both, we can write 2 times this summation AK where K varies from 1 to 9, it'll be 10 into 10C1 up to 10C9. Now we can cancel this 2 with 10, so it'll be 5. So it'll be 5, and this is 2 to the power 10 minus 2. So summation AK is 5 into 2 to the power of 10 minus 2. Now if we look at this summation BK, when K varies from 1 to 9, it'll be 9, 10C1, 8, 10C2 and 1, 10C9, which again is nothing but this summation AK. So from here we can write this summation BK when K varies from 1 to 9, it'll also be 5 into 2 to the power of 10 minus 2. Now we need to find this value AB upon 2 to the power 9 minus 1, and we need to find sum of the digits. Now this is 5 into 2 to the power of 10 minus 2. This is 5. We'll take 2 common, and then it will be 2 to the power of 9 minus 1 upon 2 to the power of 9 minus 1, which will cancel. Now this is 50 into 2 to the power of 10 minus 2. This is 50. Now 2 to the power 10 is 1024. 1024 minus 2 is 1022, and this product is 51100. Now we need to find sum of digits. Sum of digits will be simply 5 plus 1 plus 1, and which is 7. So answer to this question is 7.